Well, we can go and get started. And I think when it comes to the Q&A, I'll hand it right back over to you, Dan, just in case anybody has any questions about how to join stage or ask questions or something like that.
Yep.
But cool. All right, thanks for joining us, guys. I think it's been a while since we've had an annual general meeting. It was COVID, I believe, when we had the last one. So obviously a lot has changed since then. Um, the kind of the plan for the call tonight is to just take a broad look at the American Subbuteo Association in general, review 2025, and then as we head towards 2026, just a quick hit what's to come. Um, I have a couple updates from Pat as well as the board of directors here. So we'll just kind of run through everybody on the call, but just for everyone who's unfamiliar, the board of directors is 5 elected members. One of our directors couldn't be here. John couldn't be here tonight. So John Smith, Fussell, Daniel Lewis of Tampa Bay, Dan Cranston, Maryland, Michael Tillman, Minnesota, and then myself, the Outer Banks. I just wanted to thank everyone on the board for the time that they commit to this. It's it's a labor of love. There's not a ton of reward other than what we put into it. So I appreciate everybody and the time they put into it, and that goes for future and past board of directors members. And we wouldn't be where we're at if it wasn't for the folks who kind of laid the groundwork for where we are. And with some opening seats coming up, hopefully we can get some folks elected and on the board, and maybe some fresh faces, some old faces, some new ideas. So we meet once a month just to discuss current events within the game, both domestically and abroad. Ideas for improving the American Subbuteo scene and just general community growth and potential. Um, I'll open just quickly with a financial report, and then I'll hand it over to the different directors to kind of go over some fun things on the agenda. So, financial report, there's currently $1,991.23 available in our PayPal account, with our only fixed cost being our website hosting fee at $150 a year. Um, Financially, any updates or changes maybe since the last time we had one of these calls was we consolidated our funds from 2 different accounts. So we consolidated from a bank account all to a PayPal account. That way we can easily give access to varying boards as the years go on, and we're not kind of constrained by any banking accounts to hold our money. So the financial report, and then with that, I'll hand it over some director updates, and I'll hand it to Michael.
Thank you, Jeremy. So I'll give a quick state of the association from a club member tournament numbers perspective. So we currently have about 20 clubs registered. Of those, approximately 10 are actually active. We have had a handful of new clubs join since our last AGM. So from what I can tell, New Mexico, the LA Vultures, Minnesota, Richmond, Colonial Williamsburg, and Delaware. So 6 new clubs since our last AGM, and hopefully I didn't miss anyone. Over the last, I guess 12 months, we've had 58 different players from 12 different clubs participate in an ASA tournament. So it's a subset of the 81 people that are registered on Discord, and then we still have over 100 players registered with FISTF. And in the last year, we had 10 tournaments, including 3 majors, 2 U20 events, and 2 BETS events. And I'll let Dan talk about the major results.
We're flying through it, fellas. So over the last year we've had a couple ASA majors. We've had the typical Holiday Silver, the Western States Open, and the Nationals. And recently, we have developed a fourth major. But I think Daniel will be touching on that in a moment. But going over the highlights from last year. So last year's Holiday Silver took place in November, and I was able to take down Benny Nuger in the final of the Open. We had a lot of good turnout, though. We had good attendance from OBX, our Outer Banks companions and rivals, and also just really good local turnout. We've been pretty lucky that Paul's been able to keep good connections with a lot of the youth players, and even as they grow up, we've been able to get them to come out and play, even if they're not playing for our local club regularly. A lot of them make the effort to come out and play in the Holiday Silver. And we also had our competitors from Florida make the trip up, as well as some out-of-state fly-ins from out of state, from out west. So overall, Holiday Silver is always a marquee tournament on the calendar. And we had multiple competitions going. We had the Open, the Youth, and the Vets. Ethan Keemack, Mikey Keemack's younger brother, took down the youth category. I believe I don't remember who he beat in the final, but I know it's usually a highly contested one. There's usually a lot of close battles for the youth title at the Holiday Silver. And of course, the Holiday Silver also doubled up as a FISTF International Open. So it's also one of the few tournaments where we're able to get FISTF veteran points and open points to get our competitors higher ranked on the FISTF circuit for both the World Cup and other major events. In the veterans, Alex Batacci took down Paul Eyes, the organizer, 3-0 in a quite decisive game. Very strong game from Alex. And it's been great to have him back on the circuit. So that was last year's Holiday Silver. And then the other big major we had was the Western States Open last spring. And in that one, Zach Walker was able to defeat Patrick Sheridan 3-2 in the final. And I know that was, I don't know if we had too many outside of the, well, actually, the OBX guys came down for that one as well, too. So, yeah, that was a pretty well-attended event as well. Some tough competition on that field for sure. And then there's a couple other non-major events that were hosted. We had the Richmond Open. We had the Boise has hosted multiple smaller ASA Opens throughout the year. And then the Outer Banks has also hosted the Fall Flicks last couple of years running. For the 2025 Nationals, Boise, on their 30th anniversary, hosted an excellent ASA Nationals where we had many people travel in and have some great competition over a well-organized event, both hosted at the Foster's house. And lovely. Next time I want the Tiki Bar, though, Lenny. And then the overall is a great atmosphere, though. The Open, there's a great youth scene in the Bustle 95 Club. The competition there was great. In the Open category, I was able to take down Patrick Sheridan in the final 4-0. And then in the youth category, Eric Foster took down, I don't remember which clubmate it was, but won the final in a shootout in rather dramatic fashion. And I know there was a lot of celebrating for that one. That was over Max Hunter. Thank you, Lenny. And then in the veterans, we had Brian Arnold take down Paul Eyes 1-0 for his first ever Veterans National Championship title. It's great to have Ryan come out of his semi-retirement, but then he came back better than when he retired. So maybe we all should be trying this. I'm not sure, but Brian played excellent. It was great to have him back and took down a really, really good final over Paul Eyes. But we had a great time, and then in the team event on the Sunday, Maryland Subbuteo Club was able to take down Boise in the national team final. Boise made one heck of a run, won some really, really close games over the course of the team event, and then the team final was right on the limit of taking down Maryland Subbuteo Club, with Lenny making a really hard charge at Paul Eyes in the comeback, and then Eric Garza almost holding off and taking down Mikey Keemack. Both those games went right down to the wire, and it was very, very close and very, very entertaining. Because Boise also had the local club in mass rooting them on, the families rooting them on. It was a fun atmosphere because there were some big time goals and some big time yells during that final. And yeah, we so that was the main rundown on the last year's tournament. We've had some good competitions on ASA events, and looking forward to next year's ones. With the addition of a fourth major in the mix too. Should be fun. And I'm also going to segue now and talk a little bit more about Sporting America. So Sporting America TSC is sort of the semi-official ASA FISTF club. So the background behind this, Patrick Sheridan and I wanted to make a club for... We wanted to make an opportunity for ASA players to play abroad beyond just the World Cup. And the best way to do this was through creating Sporting America, where we made basically just a giant umbrella club where regardless of your ASA club, you're able to join Sporting America TSC and go and play abroad. And the first time we were able to make this happen was this last spring in Mallorca, Spain, where myself, Patrick Sheridan, Mikey Keemack, Justin O'Malley, Curtis, and Jeremy Goninan all made the trip overseas to go and play in the lovely island of Mallorca for a FISTF major. Unfortunately, the results in the individual didn't go our way, with everyone getting knocked out in the group stage. But in the team event, we made a great run in the consolation stage and made it all the way to the final after winning, I think, 3 different team events, but getting knocked out in the group stage. Overall, it was a great experience. It's fun to travel with a different group of people. I know a lot of the people also brought family over and had significant others and were doing other events and made a great vacation out of the trip. And overall, it was a great experience and a great introduction for Sporting America to the international scene. Also, the baseball jerseys were kind of a hit. So we got a lot of requests. I know a lot of our guys ended up even swapping jerseys with other clubs, including Mikey doing his in the top of a restaurant and nearly getting kicked out. So went well. But now Mikey has a Valletta polo. So, I mean, props to him. Off Derek Conti's back in the middle of a restaurant. So, we had some great experiences and looking forward to more with Sporting America TSC. The next coming up will be in Bologna in just under 2 months. Sporting America will be fielding 2 teams at the Bologna Major in Italy. Current attendees are Patrick Sheridan, Austin Harris, Brian Arnold, Paul Eyes, and then a big contingent from the Boise crew of Lenny Foster, Eric Foster, and Jake, I forget his last name. I'm struggling. That's a bad one. I know it's a fun one to say, and I feel bad because I got it wrong.
Because Jake's not his first name.
Oh,
First name's Mike. His
well,
last name's Jacobowski.
oh, maybe that's why. Okay. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Saving me, kind of. Or throwing me under the bus, one or the other. Under the Bowski. And then, but yeah, and I might be going. We'll see. I'm hoping to also be in that mix, but we will see as the government shutdown continues. But upcoming for sporting, besides that, I mean, we're always looking for other events to go to. I know a popular one is people definitely want to try and make it out to the Derry Ireland Open at some point. And there are many, many other ones that are on the radar that just take somebody wanting to be the lead candidate for and try to push and organize a team for. So there's lots of opportunities to go play abroad. If you're not part of Sporting America TSC and you're looking for chances to play abroad, regardless of your skill level, and if you're just trying to get more involved, it's a great way to do so. To find out more, reach out to me, Daniel Cranston, or Patrick Sheridan, and we can help get you situated, answer any questions you have about joining officially under the FISTF Club Sporting America TSC for more opportunities on that front. So I think I've been long-winded enough. With that, I will pass it over to Daniel Lewis.
Hey everybody, if you don't know me, I'm Daniel Lewis, here to talk about the calendar, kind of how it works and what it's going to look like and what it has looked like. So just to kind of give everyone an idea of a hard date for when the ASA season ends and begins. The season begins on September 1st and it goes all the way through August 31st. With that, our current calendar structure, we split up into quarters, and we're trying to have a major event in each one of those. I know you've heard us teasing a little bit about another upcoming event, and I'll get to that, but just to kind of give you an idea of where it is right now. Quarter one is usually reserved for the Western States Open, and that's what we're looking at keeping right now. Quarter one for the Western States Open. Quarter two and three, right now we're kind of in flux a little bit. Again, harkening back to that concept of another major that we're going to have. So between quarter two and quarter three is either going to be nationals or an ASA Players Open. They're not hard set yet with those dates. And then in quarter four, as we talked about a bunch already, the Holiday Silver is kind of a big marquee event around there, and that's sort of the big one in quarter four. As far as what we have on the calendar right now, official tournaments, in just a couple days, Outer Banks is hosting their Open Fall Flick, October 18th. That is the most rapidly approaching tournament. Beyond that, quarter four, November 22nd, that is the Holiday Silver up in Maryland. That is a ASA Players Major, as was mentioned. Also, did we say that's an International Open as well? Yeah. So that is getting you FISTF points as well for that one. And then quarter one of next year, Western States Open, the date and location have not been solidified yet, but we are reserving that window for that tournament. So keep an eye out for when that gets a hard date. Then in June, sure, if you're active on the Discord, you've probably seen us talking about it. In Denver, it's going to be a FISTF International Open and ASA Players Major. We're all getting pretty excited about this. Hopefully, we're going to draw some international players, corresponding a bit with maybe some people overseas traveling to our continent for the World Cup. Maybe we'll give it a little extra incentive to get some players over here. And wherever you are in the country, it's going to be a great opportunity to play against some of these big guys if they do make it over here. And then, hold on a second. For the Nationals, right now we're looking at August in Maryland for the ASA Nationals. I don't believe a hard date has been set yet, but I would keep an eye on probably early August for that as of right now. But we will, obviously, when we get an opportunity to give a date, we're going to announce that as soon as we can. And then just a couple of other bits of info for everyone that's interested in holding a tournament or an open. It's important to know that when you are hosting an open, it doesn't have to be some massive event. You don't need 15, 20 something people for it to be official. 3 or 4 players is all you technically need to be able to hold an event. The only real rule with that is making sure you're giving everyone a 30 days notice so that people who are out, not local, abroad, wherever, have an opportunity to still make it. But yeah, only 3 or 4 people is all that's required for it to actually be a legit tournament to get points with. We just want enough of a heads up so a broader audience can show up if they want to. People have a chance to travel and make that tournament a little bit more competitive for you. You're going to stick with me for a little bit. I'm going to move into the rankings now. As far as the rankings, to give you an idea of how the rankings actually work with the ASA Major and an ASA Open. I don't know if we can put this up on the screen if we want to. Otherwise, I can just talk about it. Sort of a breakdown of how the points work. With an ASA Major, I'm just going to kind of run down the brackets so you get an idea of how these points are allocated. Yeah, cool. He's pulling it up right here. I'll just talk about it as you're looking at it. I'll start at the bottom. So group stage, making it, participating in the group stage, making it out of the group stage, you're going to get 6 points for that. Moving on, if you make it to the barrage, you're getting 15 points. If you make it to the quarterfinals, is 30 points. Semifinals, 60 points. Making it to a final, it's 105 points, and winning the tournament's 150. Again, that's ASA Major, that top bar that you're looking at there. ASA Open, group stage is going to be worth 2 points. Barrage is 5 points. Again, making it to the quarters is 10. Semis is 20 points. Making it to the finals, 35. And then winning is 50 points. And then the last thing I have for you to give everyone an idea of who the big dogs are that you need to take down when you come to your next tournament. Let's shift this around a little bit and see if we can disrupt this very steady list of top people we have here. The huge upset currently that no one saw coming, ranked number 1 in the Open, is Mr. Dan Cranston here from Maryland. Reaction I expected. Number 2 is going to be Pat Sheridan, Colorado. I'll go ahead and list the points too. You're seeing them there, but Dan's at 350 points. Pat Sheridan, Colorado at 210, second place. Veront from Central Coast Condors, 170 in third place. Fourth place, Zach Walker from Colorado at 150 points. Fifth place, Benny Nugent, Maryland, 140 points. Sixth place, Michael Kemak, Maryland, 125 points. Seventh place, Eric Garza from Bustle, 115. Jeremy Goninan, Outer Banks, 105 points in eighth place. Ninth place is Paul Eyes, again from Maryland, 95 points. And number 10, Joshua Goninan, Outer Banks, 80 points. Then the veterans. Veterans is a pretty wild rank. We're going to have a lot of ties here, so I'll group them all together. But sitting firm in first place, Paul Eyes from Maryland at 210 points. Then we have a two-way tie for second place, Brian Arnold from, still listed as Northern Phoenix, Alex Batacci, Tampa Bay, both tied at 150 points. Third place, the lone man in third place, Scott McCauley, Outer Banks at 66 points. And then a three-way tie for fourth place, Durant, Claudio, and John, all with 60 points. And then a two-way tie for fifth, Chris, I'm sorry, I don't want to fudge your last name. And then Michael, both tied for fifth with 6 points.
Siegenthaler.
And then with What was that?
Siegenthaler.
Siegenthaler. Oh, that's a great name. I want to say that
It's
now.
pretty solid.
Chris Siegenthaler, 6 points. All right. Uh, for the next one, if Pat is available, we're going to pull Pat up here to talk a little bit. Is that still happening? If so, I will hand it over to Pat.
Sweet. Hello.
Yep, we hear you.
All right. Yeah. So I was just asked to talk a little bit about FISTF and the relationship with FISTF and all that good stuff. I think that is Dan talked about sporting. I think sporting stuff is going well and perceived well with all the FISTF people, so that's good. For those that don't know, my role is that I'm technically on the board as a representative of the North American Confederation, not just the ASA. Uh, and so that's kind of what it is. But anyway, I'm on like a board group chat, email chain, all kinds of stuff. I've also used this to then get single threaded with them and talk one-on-one to try to build more relationships. Basically, I'm just trying to be an ambassador with FISTF as the role. I will do it as long as everyone wants me to do it. If anyone has a strong desire to do this, I am not like I wouldn't fight you over the seat. You can certainly do it, but I'll just do this indefinitely for everyone if you guys want me to. Is kind of the gist. From FISTF, a lot of the what the role is talking about rule changes in the FISTF handbook, understanding how to enforce things at events, what's going on with equipment and homologation and all of that stuff. FISTF on the board definitely plays the part of they say they're just there to enforce the rules as they are written. I have some opinions about if that's actually what happens or not, but they have a lot of debates. Like the WhatsApp group goes off every single day. I wake up to at least 20 messages from the FISTF board about somebody that was an asshole at some event, or somebody that 3D printed their own equipment at an event, or my and my own opinions, but to hear everyone out and then just side with somebody. That way I'm not making too many waves and trying to make friends, and all of that good stuff has been my approach, really. So I still represent us well by picking the side that I think everyone as a whole in the ASA would choose and what represents our best interests. But I kind of do so in an effort to not like cause any fights or anything like that. So that's kind of the gist of it. Um, do you have questions about it? I don't know specifically if there's anything to talk about with FISTF. There's no real big rule changes.
I don't know that anybody on the board had any specific questions, but appreciate you sharing that with us, Pat. If
Yeah.
we are about to go to a Q&A after this, so if there's nothing in the chat right now, but if we get a question, we might come your way in the Q&A.
All right, cool. Well, that's really it. That's all. I mean, that's all I had. Things are going well, and
Cool.
the ASA looks good. So,
Awesome. Thanks, Pat.
yeah.
Just before we went to the Q&A here in 1 second, if there are any questions, I did want to, I think Dan mentioned it briefly, but I did want to congratulate Bustle 95 on 30 years this year. I think that's a absolute highlight of the 2024-2025 season, and that's a milestone that we all wish that we hit, and heck of a job hosting nationals on that 30th anniversary. So appreciate you guys, all you do for the game, the community. Here's to another 30 years. With that, we'll take it over to a Q&A, and Dan might have to help me on how you can ask a question here in this platform.
Yeah, so if you wanted to join the call to ask a question, just raise your hand. There should be a button at the bottom of the call for the call options. If you wanted to call Or you can type it in the chat as you guys have been doing, and we can address it that way. So, for instance, I see Zach has asked if there's been any word, Pat, on the 2026 World Cup location. Or, sorry, 2028. 2026 is in Paris.
There has been no word on 2028 World Cup locations. I guess to add to that for other events, there have also really not been any word that I've seen on next year's Champions League either. But they did redo the whole tournament schedule, so a lot of tournaments changed dates. So if you were thinking about an event in June, I would double check that, because for like 2 months there was a big debate on what tournaments should go on what dates and how we should structure this. And so all the tournaments, I think, got different dates for the next season.
Yeah, good to know. Kind of like Bologna has changed from to be now in December, right? This is the first time it's been hosted then.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest changes for it. They were trying to like spread out the majors more evenly, and then all the IOs and everything there. But the World Cup, to the main question, there has been no talk about that, except I think um, one club is like a month late in submitting their results for a tournament they just hosted, and they were talking about, some of the board members were making jokes like, there goes their hopes of hosting the World Cup. But I don't know if they really were anyway. I think that club was an Italian club, but which maybe they're bidding for it, but we'll see.
And I had a question for Jeremy, maybe Pat, but maybe probably Jeremy. Have we heard anything from the Canadian across the border lately, or Pat, have you heard any mention of that on the FISTF board? Just curious in general.
I haven't. They've been MIA. I also probably haven't done the best job of reaching out, but
I've not heard anything from the most recent president, Shane Hopler, I think his name is. Have not heard anything since his last. He did reach out 6 to 7 months ago, maybe, about more or less shutting down the Canadian Subbuteo Association. Not sure if he has the authority to do that, but that was kind of where it was left off. I did see there was a tournament played in Howard Christie and Mike's Grove recently, so there's some action there and maybe some hopes for future involvement, but haven't heard anything other than that. No.
Very good. And then I
I
see.
do think it's in our best interest to try to support that, however we can, in terms of making sure there's active clubs, players, tournaments, whatever it might be, and somebody in a position to communicate what the status of their association is. So, so it's in our best interest. Probably Pat and I could work on maybe establishing some contact with them and see what's going on.
Cool. And I see one question from Lenny asking about the 2026 World Cup squad selection. So I guess I'll direct that mainly towards you, Jeremy, but if you want, I can probably also talk on it, I guess. But
You can take that one.
Thanks. Why did I say that? So World Cup selection next year, I don't think we have selected a captain yet. That is going to be the first process. Normally, it's probably around this time because we're less than a year out now from the next World Cup, where we would want to be solidifying the captain. So honestly, it's a good reminder also that we just kind of need to get more on that. And in the past, the captain has had more authority to select the roster based on their expectations, in terms of, building up the team. That's kind of the direction we went with it most recently. but we have not both fielded captaincy options from the board. Like, I think the board selected the captain, and then the captain was kind of given authority to select the team. So I don't think we have not solidified a captain for the next World Cup yet. But that's a good point. That's something that needs to be addressed soon. For Jeremy, I'll pass Pat's question to you. Has anyone been selected for the WSO host?
Selected for, so yeah, that's usually between Bustle 95, Colorado, and Central Coast Condors. Early discussions in hosting that in California with some date and venue/location details coming soon, I believe. I think that's what they're looking for right now, but most likely California, unless something drastic changes or if there's a if that falls through. But we'll be in contact if it does. That's looking like what it's going to be right now.
Yeah, the last indication we were given was hoping for the Condors to host and preliminary, very rough date of March. But more to come. I see Patrick mentioned that for the GPIO weekend for next June, that we have 2 potential travelers already, and Wolfgang Haas and Aaron Skinner. Hopefully more to come, and hopefully those are confirmed. That would be great additions.
Any other questions out there from the audience? All right.
We're really going to go the whole
I think we'll
call
go ahead and wrap
without
this up.
Zach joining the stage? Never would have thought I would have seen the day.
Zach can join us if he wants.
But yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is not too old to play football. That was a question that came through. I saw that.
Stupid Steelers fans.
That's probably why the low attendance on the calls. We're competing with the high viewership of the Thursday night football game tonight.
Checks out.
Yes, that is obviously the only reason we do not have 20 plus people right now, I believe.
I guess I had one question for you, Jeremy, on the website costs. Is that locked in for the? How long is that locked in for, and are we looking to change in the future?
Currently locked. So our contract expires the end of 2026. It's a 3-year deal, and I'm locked into it, but I'm not sure what migrating the website to another host would look like. I think we've done a little playing around research there, but the cost ended up. I'm not sure if I ever updated you guys on that. The cost ended up being significantly lower than we thought it was, because it was for a 3-year stretch instead of one. So it was spread out over 3 years instead of the one that we thought it was.
Okay. And then I think the last thing I really wanted to mention is the ASA board elections. So I think the offboarding members are what? It's me, Michael, and John Smith. And so I don't know if I think at the moment none of us 3 were planning to run again. Put another way, we need volunteers. Talk with your club if your club's not represented already on the ASA board. I think now's definitely the time to try and get some new blood or circle back on people that have rotated out and come back in. But yeah, the ASA board election, or we're open for nominations now, and just encourage communication both with the existing board if you have questions, but also just reach out to your local club mates, and make sure you're aware of the opportunities, or they're aware of opportunities to potentially join the board, and get more involved and help us out.
Good call out, Dan. Appreciate that. All right. If we don't have any more questions, any more comments on the board of directors on that? All right. Well, appreciate everybody's time. Appreciate you stepping away from your lives to join us tonight. This is recorded. We'll share it out to the community so everyone can tune into the updates. So with that, appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Yep. Thanks for coming out, guys.